You are listening to the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin Show, which means that when you hear this noise, you should take a look at whatever you are using to listen to the show, because there is a picture or a link or some sort of supplementary information to help you appreciate what we're talking about. And I know that not everyone clicks on the links. I track them, so I know just how few of you are clicking, but I also know that those of you who do click love the feature. So this episode is dedicated to you guys. Enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome to the Jeff Rubin Show. I'm Jeff Rubin, here this week with Nick and Dimitri from Everything is Terrible. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff Rubin.
Who's Dimitri and who's Nick? Can you guys identify yourselves?
I'm Dimitri.
I'm Nick.
So, I know Everything is Terrible through your web videos, which I'm just going to try to describe for a second. At their most basic level, it seems like you guys are taking terrible movies, and not just movies, but instructional videos, religious videos, that kind of thing, ephemeral films, editing it to get rid of the worst part, which is actually watching the movie. You just take it out so it's only quick cuts of all the best parts. Is that a fair way to describe it?
Nick, you want to take this one? Why don't you take this one?
You want me to take? Yeah, that's definitely a portion of what we do. And then we a lot of times make whole new things out of it that are kind of unrecognizable from the original.
Let me play a clip from one, just so people have some idea what we're talking about.
What a day! I tapped into the power.
Tell me about it.
There I was, an ordinary mom.
Then I slid into my computer chair, and with a few clicks of my mouse, I became a mom on the net with the world at my fingertips.
How does anyone have time to have fun? Melanie, you made it! I had to go to the library to copy reference material for Nikki's report on New Zealand, and that took forever. Then I went to the bookstore to get a cookbook of low-fat recipes for that party that I might go to with George Cooper on Saturday. And of course, the book was sold out, so now I get to drive back there on Thursday. I had to drive to my sister's and drop off a poem. She wants it for her second graders tomorrow.
Melanie,
and then,
are you on the internet?
Isn't that for techno geeks with spreadsheets? Oh, Mel, you need the power.
What's interesting about you guys is you're not just finding video from the internet and reposting it and re-editing it. You are actually finding these on the original analog source themselves. Is that correct?
Yes, that is our rule, that we cannot get anything from the web. It is, and we don't even really want it to be. I mean, not that we'd even... Well, I think at some point we'll get to that point where I want to start editing those kind of vlogs, as people call them. I don't know if you can hear that over the phone. I
Vlogs,
said vlog,
not a blog.
Not with a B.
Wait, what is that? That's vlogs? V?
Yes, vlogging, video vlogging.
So wait,
but
so
no, right now,
where
that's
are
just
they?
What we do all VHS, some DVD, if it's if it fits our criteria, but mostly, for the most part, VHS, about 99%.
Where are these VHS tapes coming from?
Oh, I just, everybody asks that question.
We're not going to tell
Everyone
you.
thinks we're gonna
You
give
want
away
our
the
secrets?
That's it? That's my first question, and you can't even answer? So wait, that's
Exactly.
like a secret where these VHS tapes are coming from?
We didn't think it was, but
I thought that
apparently you guys don't seem to know.
Well, the thing is, like, I love bad movies. I love bad movies, I think, more than I love good movies. When I was a kid...
But are they bad, though? Does that make them bad? Then?
Well, when I was a kid, my friends and I, we would go to Blockbuster, and there was an aisle of these free movies about safety and manners, and you could rent those for free. And we would just rent those and, kind of goof on them in a Mystery Science Theater style. And I always thought that was actually more fun than actually watching a good movie. So I have... you're not talking to some average Joe here. I have a few of the types of videos you're describing, but you guys have posted hundreds of them.
Oh,
I think
not
1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
Oh, more than 1,000, a couple thousand.
So you
we're getting there.
somewhere you guys have a secret treasure trove of thousands of VHS tapes.
It's never ending. I mean, it's
we barely
there's no
scratched
end
the
in sight.
surface.
It's surely you're not just putting on all the VHS tapes. It seems like you're cherry picking the good ones.
I'd say, I don't know, Nick, what do you think? I would say 1 in 5 maybe is like really good. I don't know. That depends, really.
It's getting higher and higher now. I feel like 50% of them maybe now are postable.
That's true.
Me. I don't know if
we're
I'm just
getting better at picking them. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what it is, but yes.
Well, what do you look for when you're watching them? What makes something an everything is terrible candidate?
Well, I mean, that's what's weird though, is because like I'll watch a tape and like not take anything from it and put it back on my shelf, and then 2 years later use it. So I think it's like day by day, you know, whatever makes me laugh that day.
So it's just as simple as what makes you laugh?
What we're ready for.
Yeah.
I think what's enjoyable. I think like if it's funny, definitely that's a big part of it. It should make us laugh, but also I think lately a lot of it is just like, that's amazing. I have to post this. Like I don't even know if that's funny. It's just that's incredible. Like I don't know if I'm laughing anymore, especially when we edit it. But it's like I can't describe this. I've never seen anything like it. I have to share this with people.
Yeah, I guess laughing doesn't actually happen. It's more of just like the thought of that's funny. I haven't laughed in years.
Like I could imagine laughing at this if I had the capacity to.
Is it immediately obvious when you're watching a good one that you're onto something, that you found something?
Yeah,
I think sometimes definitely. I mean, sometimes something comes up and it's like, oh my God, you're begging us to make fun, you know, to you know, I don't even have to edit this.
So if you posted 1,000 videos, you've maybe gone through 4,000 or 5,000 of them. What is the most disturbing thing you've ever seen on a VHS tape?
That was a good one. What would you say, Nick? I'll have to think about that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, the ET porn is always, I mean, it's stuck in.
What is
ET porn?
What is the ET porn?
The greatest thing ever.
Or I guess
Exactly.
Hinyan, though.
Or guess which one?
Hinyan, though, too, is pretty,
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So what's ET porn?
ET porn is exactly what you think it is. It is I think it's German, but then dubbed in Brazilian. Or like, I mean, it was Brazilian and then dubbed in German, I believe. It's so weird. It's like so many generations past, and it's like who doesn't want to see? Who watched ET and didn't think, I wonder how that thing fucks?
So where is this from? It's a German video dubbed in Brazilian. Do you guys have an original copy? Do you have like a third generation copy?
You know, certain things get passed to us, you know, because of now where things have gotten. It's like we're lucky we're that at shows and stuff like that, and through our P.O. box.
Yeah, I think a lot of our best tapes now are given to us, actually.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Like it's really been. They've made our work a little easier. You know, it's so fun, and then we always love to give them credit. It's like we never want to, you know, because it's like they found it. We want to give it the you know, treatment, EIT treatment, and spit it back out. It's so fun.
Do you guys work in video outside of this Everything is Terrible, or is it just Everything is Terrible?
Yeah, we do.
Are you editors? Because it seems like Everything is Terrible is an extremely editing-intense project.
It's kind of nice, actually. It kind of got a lot of us editing jobs, actually. Doing it was like a way to sort of get better at editing, and then it became, it actually got us work.
How many people is Everything is Terrible?
Oh, Lord, what are we, 15, 20 now? There's so many of us.
Well, we've been expanding, yeah. It started with 2. Then became 4, then 7. It's mostly 7.
Are you two the founders?
We are the co-founders. Mm-hmm. But in some ways that's true, but then in some ways it wasn't, because we started it as this, but then we joined forces with our friends Future Schlock, who we went to school with, we know very well, and we thought, wait a minute, what are we doing? Why are we not, you know, doing this together? This doesn't make any sense. This isn't something that everyone has an interest in. And then it kind of became, you know, we kind of bought them out.
We gobbled them up.
So
Everything is Terrible. It's like a collective. It's not just one person editing all these videos.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've been opening up to more of our friends lately who we've worked with and known for a while, and we're thinking, you know what, this is silly. What are we want them to do the same thing. So it's like we're definitely expanding. I mean, when it comes to the DVDs, we're sort of splitting off. That's a little different. But when it comes to the site and when it comes to the look of everything, no, there's endless.
There's an army.
Well, a small army.
That's reassuring, because if one person was watching all these movies, surely they'd go insane.
Yeah, we're on our way.
Well, yeah, we're on our way, though. It's getting there.
Do you give the videos any more context? Because sometimes when I watch the videos online, for instance, a good one would be... there's that one of the guy. Let me play a clip from it just because the clips are so fun. But there's the one of the guy. I guess it's a self-defense video, and he says,
"You would step to your left reaching back with your right hand, grabbing testicles and squeezing. Or you could step to your right, reaching back with your left hand, grabbing testicles and squeezing.
I watch these things and I'm like, where is it from? Who did this? Do you explain that at all? Or is it part of the fun for you to just...
No, we never explain it.
We explain even less in the movies and live show.
So part of the charm is just letting it speak for itself.
That's really what we want to do. I think the worst thing you can do, not the worst thing, but people can do it when it's done wrong, it's like done really bad, is commenting over the clips as if they're your clips or as if it's your stand-up act or something. I don't really know what people are doing. I mean, you know,
kind of like a
Mystery
Mystery
Science
Society theory, yeah.
You know, that was very inspirational, at least for some of us.
Certainly.
But
you guys must have loved Mystery Science Theater. There's no way you guys...
For sure.
It seems like most of the videos you take are from a very specific era. Let's call it the VHS era.
Yeah, they're the easiest to find, it seems.
Do you guys think they're still making terrible videos today? Are there still classics that we can unearth 20 years from now, 25 years from now?
For sure.
You know, yeah, there are, but I think it's just hard to tell because, like, people try to, I think, jump on stuff too quickly, and you got to be careful. It's like, you know, they're like, I think, like, The Room is a good example. It's like, yeah, that movie's, like, really bad, but, like, I don't really ever want to watch that movie. I saw it in the theater with people, and it was really fun. It was, like, a fun experience, but it was like, okay, this is crazy. It's one of the worst things ever made. It's like they're doing everything wrong, but, like, I think the real gems are going to come out, like, in 20 years. I think that's when we're going to find them. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be that obvious to us right now. But who knows?
There is increased scrutiny right now. Like, something like
Oh,
Friday
absolutely.
from Rebecca Black, if it were made in the 80s, would just sit in a high school video storage room waiting for you guys to unearth it. But now, the week it came out, millions and millions of people had seen it. But you're saying you believe that there, even despite that increased scrutiny, underneath it, there is still somehow out there.
Oh, yeah, there's thousands of Rebecca Blacks every day.
Oh, there's a Rebecca Black born every minute.
Is YouTube the new pile of VHS tapes to go through?
Yeah, it kind of is. That's what
Kind
that goes back to what you were first asking. Yeah, it's like, I think if we really stick, you know, like I was just talking about with Nick the other day, of this guy. What is his name? What does he call his videos? There's literally like 250 of them.
Oh, the stand-up guy.
Stand-up guy. I wish I could. I don't know if he even has his name on there. They're really generically labeled.
It's like Dan Poet something.
Is that it? If you figure that out, you should find it and play it because it's incredible.
Dan Poet
This dude is like Rupert Pupkin, but living today. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, he just stands in his backyard, stand-up in front of his deck.
Stands on his deck doing stand-up. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, comedian, entertainer, Daniel Songer, back for Comedy Act 206, the greatest comedy act of all time, welcomes Daniel Songer. Hey, 206 comedy acts. This is going to be the greatest comedy act of all time. Yes, Comedy Act 206, the greatest comedy act of all time. Hey, what are two things you do not want to get? And one is onion breath. I mean, who wants to kiss somebody with onion breath? And the second thing is fish lips. Fish lips! How can you kiss somebody with fish lips?
I wonder if YouTube almost lowers the barrier of entry too much. Because sometimes I watch an Everything is Terrible video, like, say, the one about cat massages.
Remember the old Simon and Garfunkel song? Slow down, you're moving too fast. That says a lot about life and about cat massage.
The funniest part is that this woman was so into cat massages and thought she had so much to say about cat massages that she got a video team, she put together a video, and in the 80s, that wasn't something that was easy to do. Now you can more or less do it with the things that come with a personal computer that everyone has. But in the 80s, that was an enormous effort. And I'm wondering if YouTube almost makes it too easy for people to make terrible videos for us to laugh at.
I think it just makes it harder for those of us who go through it.
Right. Like, there's definitely a lost art there. to women like her, but it's just different. I think it's just different now, where that we have to know what to look for now. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there definitely is a production level that's changed or whatever. Things are a lot easier. But then it's like, well, that makes our job. We just have to work harder now.
Yeah, and I mean, we already see that when we look at different. I mean, looking in the late '70s versus the '80s versus the '90s, we look for different things. And I mean, you just gotta know what to look for. It'll all be there.
Yeah.
Were these clips as funny? Like, if I watch the cat massage video, which screams '80s, I mean, right? It's a late '80s thing. I'm like, it screams '80s, and then I'm not sure when it's from. But it's obviously from a very specific era. Would you think if you were living in that era, it's not as obviously funny then? Like, if you watch the cat massage video the year it was released, is it as funny as if you watched it now?
Well, I don't know. I think that's what we were saying about like the Rebecca Blacks. Is I think you're just too close to it because it's like, you know, you kind of like it because it's your culture or whatever, and you're not quite ready to laugh at yourself yet. So it takes people a while.
Yeah, but I think there were always sarcastic jerks, though. I think there were always people. I just don't think there was a forum for it. You know what I mean? Like, we're just lucky that we can put our stuff up on YouTube and everyone can, take it their own way or whatever. But it's like, I'm sure, I know, I mean, there definitely were people doing this kind of stuff for 40, 50 years. We just watched, for the Everything Is Festival, we played a 4-hour movie, the first found footage movie ever made in 1968 by Joe Dante, the director of Gremlins. And it was unbelievable. It was just like, it's so rare, but if you guys can see it, you got to see it because it is amazing. And it's like 40 years ago, there were dudes who went to this guy, Joe Dante, and his partner went around the country, sponsored by Schlitz, played it for hippie stoners across the country, and it's like 40 years later, here we are doing the exact same thing.
And it was a found footage movie.
It's a found footage movie. The only difference is instead of doing it with Final Cut Final Cut Pro, and a mouse pad, they did it with tons and tons of sprocket tape and 16 millimeter. Like, they had to buy the 16 millimeter twice if they wanted to repeat a scene. So, like, think about that. Like, it's really unbelievable. It just makes me feel like such a spoiled brat that I can just do this at home without sweating, at all. And these guys are doing it 40 years ago. It's amazing.
A found footage movie is a term I had never heard a few weeks ago until I started talking to you guys and learned you guys had made a found footage movie. I would never have thought this. I wouldn't know what to expect, but after watching your movie, it's obviously, because you guys have done 2 Everything Is Terrible movies. I watched 2, Everything, I believe the title is Everything Too Terrible 2 Tokyo Drift. Is that correct?
Almost.
It's pretty close.
2 Everything Too Terrible 2 Tokyo Drift.
Almost. Everything Is Terrible presents to Everything Too Terrible 2 Tokyo Drift.
But the thing about it is that it's after watching it, it's obviously more than just more random clips spliced together. They all congeal somehow. So what is a found footage movie?
We basically, our goal, or I guess our goal is to make a movie out of thousands of other, or tell a story out of thousands of other stories, basically. So for the sequel that you saw, that is our post-apocalyptic, epic.
It's like a coming-of-age story.
A coming-of-age, post-apocalyptic, second coming-of-age, post-apocalyptic, psychedelic rom.
It's almost like Girl Talk for bad videos, because it's just this Girl Talk, the musician, because it's just these quick cuts of things, and before you can really process them, you're already on to the next one. And each clip is related to the clip before it, but once you've gone down a few of those, you can't see how it's at all related to the one from 10 clips ago.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. That's exactly what it is.
So this video is incredible. I just watched it.
Enjoy it.
And probably I think the perfect circumstances. I had a lot of my friends over here. We were playing some Catan, and these are the friends who I'm still friends with from high school and before that, who we used to watch bad blockbuster movies with, and we loved it. It's incredible. You guys made it's like a 45-minute movie. And how many different sources of clips go into that movie? Are 1,000, a few hundred?
I think it's got to be like closer to 2,000, probably.
So there's clips from 2,000 different educational movies, religious, all these ephemeral films, all these movies that were. There's bad movies too. I caught Theodore Rex, something where the Baldwin is in there, and they all come together to this one whole. And I didn't think this was possible, but it really has like a climax. Like it builds and it gets more exciting. And I knew when it was ending. Like even though there was no story, no one's like, "Here's the story." I could tell that there was an arc to the excitement of it.
Right, and we try to make it for its. And really, what you said was what we hoped for. Of course, people are welcome to watch it alone or whatever, or with a lady friend. Or with a fella.
A very romantic evening of like Dwayne breakdancing and robots screaming.
But we love what we love it. Yes, like the reason why we tour with it is because, one of our favorite things to do is that everyone. It's a party movie. Like we want.
It really
people to watch
is.
it.
We want it to be sold at head shops.
Yeah, totally. It's perfect. I mean,
yes, our goal is if we could have it sold at head shops across the country, we would be done. Like I wouldn't work another day.
It's so perfect for that. I think I really was blown away by it. I'd never seen anything like it. How did you possibly go about putting it together? And this is something I feel like I almost can't play a clip of because you really need to see if you just see a few seconds of it, you're like, all right, I've seen something like that. But when you see the whole thing together, it's incredible. There's just like, let's say there's a few clips of people talking about manners, and then there's someone talking about manners to a robot, and then there's a bunch of clips of robots. So how did you put that together? Is this all in your head?
What I would say to do is, I would say you and your friends, your Blockbuster friends who are still hanging out, I would say you guys try to do it, and you'll see that you can probably pull it off, and that you can also probably want to kill all of your friends.
So the difficult thing isn't doing it; it's doing it and retaining your sanity.
Right.
I'm not going to lie to you. Last year, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just talking about killing everyone. Go ahead.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like,
is this all in your heads? Do you guys remember the movies that well, or do you have? It seems do you have a database of every time someone says hello? Like there's one montage of kind of Jews, black people, and it's just like people saying races in 100 different videos. Did you have that catalog somewhere? How do you?
No, man, we're like the most disorganized bunch of kitty cats like ever. I mean, I think it goes back to that gut thing that we were talking about earlier, because like we've been looking for dog clips pretty much for the last year straight, and Dimitri, you can testify to this. We'll just like pick a random tape and be like, there's going to be a dog clip in that tape, and it like always works. So I think
I gotta say, Nick kind of discovered this thing. We spent a few months together kind of prepping the stuff, and Nick was going through it like crazy, and it was like I could not believe his theory was like so true. Where like you would literally put in any movie from we'd put it on, and then within 10 minutes a dog would come on. We were just like, What are you talking about? You just kind of have to pick up on that stuff, because you just have to be like, okay, this might work for the dog walking kind of dumb. It's not that funny, but it might be really funny in the right setting. I mean, so there's kind of like there's I guess a shitty art to that.
Even if you could find all the dog clips, you're building this 45-minute movie 1 second, a half a second at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
how long did it take to put together the movie?
Oh, God.
I mean, well, it's hard to say. Like we use the blog as kind of a means to sort of build our, you know what I mean? Like we sort of.
I did see some things like Colby and some of the videos that I know from you guys. I did recognize in there.
It's like we want you to get used to these I'm going to say friends. To get used to these people like Dwayne and Colby. So that when the time comes, if you've seen this stuff before, you'll see it in a totally different context. But if you haven't, hopefully it'll still be as funny. But it's like it helps us get through it. We couldn't make the movie, starting from scratch unless we were, using the site to sort of post this stuff. And of course that helps so much and it's fun to do. But I think for the dog movie that's been kind of difficult because we're not doing that. We're actually doing that differently, where we are doing it from scratch. And so we kind of want to go back to that dying thing we were talking about.
So wait, the dog movie is a third Everything is Terrible movie that is coming out soon?
Right.
Yeah.
It's killing us.
I love Everything is Terrible, and I love the web videos and the way you guys have have made watching these bad movies tolerable. But the movie was really something else. Like, it really, just seeing all these things so quickly out of context, it took this thing I was familiar with, and I think it really took it to another level that I was not totally expecting. And I want to give it my strongest recommendation. I think the people that listen to this show, if you're enjoying the show, I think there's a strong possibility that, because this movie's not for everyone. By a long shot. Guys, I love you. I love your work.
Everyone.
I love your work.
No,
This is not for everyone. But I think if you're listening to this show, there's a strong chance you would enjoy it. You know what it reminded me of? And the movie and the web stuff now I'm talking about, just the whole Everything is Terrible project, is Tim and Eric and Wonder Shows are the only two things I could think of. And both of those are, you're like the real life Tim and Eric almost. The thing that they're parodying is what you guys do.
Yeah, Metafilter forums go on for page after page or whatever. They go on for miles of people arguing who stole from who. If Everything is Terrible stole from Tim and Eric, or Tim and Eric stole from Everything is Terrible. I don't really understand what they're talking about, but because we didn't make this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, I think you're both drawing from the same inspiration, basically.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us actually had never even seen Tim and Eric until very recently. Like, really, like a lot of us.
Yeah, I think I've heard
a lot. Wonder Shows is a huge inspiration, absolutely. But
right.
Tim, we love it and everything, but it's like that's not at all. Like we never go out with that mentality or anything like that. I mean, we're glad to be compared in that. If you like Tim and Eric, hopefully you'll like us. And vice versa.
I think that people would. I wouldn't ask this with anyone else, but have you spoken to Tim and Eric? It seems like they must just. It seems so up their alley. I think it just seems like something they would love so much.
They were fans, yeah, they did. I gave them a couple DVDs, and I was very excited because they were like, "What? We go to this every day." And I was very sad when they would not give us a quote though for the back of our DVD, and I'll never forget it. I don't know if I'll ever forgive them.
I mean, I think you guys are both just fans. Like, you guys obviously have a beyond reason love of this material, and I think Tim and Eric and the guys that put together Wonder Shows and did too, and I think it's something, and I do too. Certainly not as much as you guys, but I enjoy watching them.
We do it for you guys.
So if you go to the Everything is Terrible website, on the top there's a navigation bar, and there's the sections one might expect to find on a website. There's like news, blog, videos, and then right there in the top navigation, one of the major features of the website is Maguire Watch.
Yeah, you gotta have a Maguire Watch.
Just for those that don't visit websites that have Maguire Watch, what is a Maguire Watch?
It's what I live for. It's collecting Jerry Maguire VHS tapes.
The film Jerry Maguire on VHS.
Right.
Nick, I gotta correct you there for a second. I agree with everything you said, except for you missed one word. All the Jerry Maguire tapes.
Excuse me, everyone.
So your goal is to collect every single copy of Jerry Maguire that is on VHS.
Yeah, a goal, though, sounds like something that we have to work for and that it might happen.
Right.
This will happen.
How many do you have already?
Around 1,500.
I thought it was more. I thought it was more like, it's around, yeah, give or take.
I think it's 1,500.
Do you have a garage full of these and a furious wife or something?
Oh, we have lots of furious wives.
Because DVDs... you can put them all in a booklet. VHS tapes are big. 1,500 VHS tapes take up a lot of room.
Oh, they're heavy, too.
How much room does do 1,500 Jerry Maguire VHS tapes take up?
More than you think, but less than we'd like.
So why Jerry Maguire?
It's again the easiest to find. Everything, we're just doing whatever is easiest here.
Because it's not a terrible movie. It's a pretty good movie, right?
Pretty terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, come on. It's certainly not the worst movie.
It's pretty mediocre is the problem.
Right.
Which is what we hate. We do not like mediocre things.
And just out of curiosity, where did you get 1,500 Jerry Maguire tapes?
Mostly we've exchanged currency for them.
That is true. Yes. The tour was actually a great way. We were collecting them. That was a huge boost for us. We had maybe 800 a year ago. Maybe less, actually. I don't remember. But in the last year since the tour, people bring them to shows, which we encourage highly. They've been sending them to us via our P.O. box, which you can get on the website, and it's been amazing. We still get them all the time. It's been incredible. We still hunt for them ourselves, but of course, to have everyone's help in this, we cannot do this alone.
I can't imagine that there are a lot of copies of Jerry Maguire out there because obviously it was an extremely popular movie, and it's from that VHS era. No one really I can imagine that they sold a ton of copies of it. It wasn't that long ago, and no one really needs their copy of Jerry Maguire on VHS anymore. It's kind of like how every record store, if you ever go to a record store that sells used records, they always have a copy of Michael Jackson's Thriller, because they sold like 20 million copies of Thriller, and no one really wants to keep a copy of Thriller around on a big disc anymore.
But even Thriller now has some sort of value. Not maybe maybe not monetary, but like
it's an awesome album.
It's a good album, and Michael Jackson's dead, and it's kind of a cool cover. There's really nothing captivating at all about a copy of Jerry Maguire, other than it's red.
What about Jerry's story of redemption?
No.
What? No. No.
Well, what about...
We just have to have them, though.
What about the kid who says facts and stuff? He's
that kid is funny. The kid is funny.
The kid's kind of cute, right?
The little kid is pretty funny.
I always use as my most mediocre movie, I always cite Time Cop as the average movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Because Time Cop...
It's a good one, but I'd say it's a little action-packed.
Well, here's the thing about Time Cop. Time Cop is not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. But there are some interesting ideas within Time Cop. It's not the worst movie at all. There are some cool time travel things. There's some cool action sequences. It's not the worst movie. There's some decent elements in it. And sometimes I'll see a movie like Fast and the Furious 5, and I ask myself, is it better or worse than Time Cop? Because it's easy to be worse than Time Cop. There are some decent moments in Time Cop. There are not in Fast and the Furious 5. So, and it's really embarrassing to be a worse movie than Time Cop.
So wait, Fast Furious 5, no good, huh?
Well, it's not.
Seen it.
It's not bad, but it's below Time Cop.
Is it on VHS?
I don't know that it is. I imagine the first one's on VHS. Do you guys have
the first one? Probably is.
What is it about VHS? Because we had someone on the show recently who was talking about cassette tapes and how cassette tapes were almost romantic in that you had to there was a lot of care that went into making mixtapes, and even though technically it was an inferior format, they were nostalgic for it anyway. But I feel like we're maybe not as nostalgic for VHS tapes.
I have to say that our most hypocritical act is putting out our movie on DVD. That makes me feel like a fraud. No joke. I feel like an idiot. Putting
out your movie on DVD?
Yeah, I despise DVDs.
Well, that's actually an interesting question about your movie. It's 45 minutes long. It's not for everybody. There's full frontal female nudity. Like, how do you distribute something like that?
Wait, there's male nudity too, right?
Male nudity too.
Is there?
I hope there's more male nudity.
That Jerry Seinfeld impersonator.
Well, you cover up his dick. You cover up his dick with a I'm not making this up. You cover up his dick with a baby face.
Jesus.
I thought we show it. Do we? I thought we show it twice, and the first time, maybe right.
You do show the clip twice, and you might see his dick the first time. Amazingly, this is the second time we've talked about naked Jerry Seinfeld impersonators in just 10 episodes of the show. A remarkable statistic. Are you guys worried that at any point you're going to go through all the VHS tapes and you'll have to go to DVD?
Yeah, sadly that day probably will come.
Wherever you're getting them from, do you have more VHS tapes in your library that are just waiting to be reviewed yet?
Oh God, yeah. So many. It's not even funny. We go over each other's houses and yell at each other for not doing a good enough job.
I'm guessing I've been through about like 10% maybe.
That can't possibly. Are you kidding? 10%?
I'd say about 20, maybe 20 at the most.
How many tapes are in this library?
Well, we've each got our own, so there's that. I mean, I think it depends. I mean, I think I have actually a very small amount compared to you, Nick. I think I'm somewhere near 1,000, but you're in like, I don't know, you're way past me.
Yeah, around, I'd say 3 or so.
Where do you keep 3,000 VHS tapes, not even counting your 1,500 copies of Jerry Maguire? Where do you just physically, where are these things being stored?
I'm actually surrounded right now.
You're sitting on a throne of them.
Yes.
Are they insured?
Of course.
Are they your most valuable possession? If a house is flooding and you can wish one thing out of the house, is it the VHS tapes?
Yeah, I think after my cat.
Do you enjoy good movies? Do you guys like good movies?
Oh, absolutely.
Again,
of course.
Good and bad. Those words don't apply here.
I see what you're saying. Well, do you enjoy movies that are Do you enjoy movies and are there movies that I'm trying to think how to phrase this.
Do you mean Criterion films?
Well, do you enjoy movies are there any movies that you enjoy the way they were meant to be enjoyed?
Of course.
It's interesting that there's only, in the movie, which is, again, mostly made of these found videos that you could never even guess where they're from. Oh, one I gotta ask about real quick. Hitler Kid. One of the videos is a kid dressed as Hitler in front of, he looks like he's in the room they shot the Star Wars Kid video in, like a kind of like a high school, just drapes on the wall room. Do you know what that is from? That was... What was
We're actually legally not allowed to talk.
That's one question we're not allowed to answer.
What, that specific video?
Yeah.
Well, we don't want it to be a legal problem, but yes, that specific video we've been promised.
Just
never
that.
To reveal anything more than that.
I hit on the specific video that you can't reveal anything about.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not joking. Yes, that's the
It's
only
one time we're being serious. We are not allowed to talk about that.
Interesting.
For one time, we're not allowed to talk. We would, trust me. I'd love to tell you about it, but you can imagine what it is, basically.
No, I can't. I can't imagine what it is. It's a kid dressed as Hitler, and he's joking. It's kind of lighthearted, but it's still about.
We can say this without it being a problem. It's his audition tapes. This is what he thought would.
Yeah. We can also say that it's about 12 minutes long, and you should never, ever, ever show the whole 12 minutes to a crowd.
Oh, yeah, we've cut it way down.
Most of the movie and most of the stuff on the website is made of videos like that, but occasionally you'll dip into feature films. Like, I saw some Theodore Rex in there. There was... I know there was others. The clip from Spike Lee's Jungle Fever with Wesley Snipes yelling no.
We do a lot. I mean, we're always doing 2-minute movies. I mean, we usually do about one a week, which is, 1 out of 5 are the features.
And what would you recommend? What would a movie for that situation where next time my Blockbuster friends are over, what movies you guys think we should watch?
I just watched Karate Cop. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. That one's not...
No?
I was fooled by the cover on that one.
Gee, what's it about?
Fooled.
The ending's pretty sweet.
Yeah. One movie that I recommend to many people, it's coming out on actually Blu-ray, depending on how you want to watch it, is The Boxer's Omen, it is called. It is a fantastic Shaw Brothers film, but it is in no way a kung fu movie. It is the most psychedelic thing.
Oh, that's
interesting.
interesting.
It's in some ways a kung fu movie, but I wouldn't call it a kung fu movie.
That sounds cool. The Shaw Brothers are kind of what that Kill Bill aesthetic is kind of based on.
And that's what they're known for, but this is nothing like that. And it is, you will be screaming at the top of your lungs.
The only reason we're going to be watching those is because we already watched the Everything is Terrible movie. Again, I loved it. I recommend it to everyone. And when we were done watching it, then we started watching Everything is Terrible videos online. I love what you guys do. Every time I see a new one at work, it's really exciting. We all gather around and watch it. So keep up the good work, guys. And thanks so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's it for this week. There will be a new Jeff Rubin show on Tuesday, and then every Tuesday after that forever. I know it's hard to remember that the show is on Tuesdays, but you won't have to if you just follow me on Twitter, where I am at Jeff Rubin Show, on my blog, which is on Tumblr at jeffrubin.com, or on my Facebook fan page, and new option, all those people that stopped listening already aren't going to know about this, so this is just between me and you, everybody. There is now an mailing list, if you will. You can sign up to receive emails. You guys remember emails, right? You can sign up to get them every time a new episode comes out. The form is in the column on the right-hand side. It is not hard to find, I assure you. I'm making it sound more complicated than it is. Just go to jeffrubin.com, and you're going to want to hear next week's episode. It's our big roller coaster spectacular with a roller coaster critic from Theme Park Review and a roller coaster designer. So get ready for that on Tuesday.